Hi, my friends. So we are back with another math lesson. So this is talking about rounding. I'm sure that you have done rounding in the past before. We're going to be talking about rounding really big numbers. So that's what we're going to focus on today. If you notice on your weekly schedule, you have 2 days scheduled for this, 2 days scheduled for rounding. So today we're going to talk just about rounding. We're going to do one word problem together, but we're going to focus just on how do you round numbers? And that's our essential question. How can you round numbers? And more specifically, we're going to talk about how we're rounding numbers that are bigger, okay? So first and foremost, I want you to do the warm-up question. The warm-up question is right here. So you're going to put them in order from least to greatest. So pause your video, take a second on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard or on something, and you're going to answer this warm-up. I'm assuming that you paused it, and I'm assuming that you have your answer ready, so let's do this one together. So we're going to put them in order from least to greatest. I helped you out a lot because I stacked them up for you, which makes it way easier to do. So I've got a 3, a 4, a 3, and a 9. Remember, pay attention to what order they need to go in. We are doing least to greatest. So even though 40,213 has the highest number, highest digit in the 10,000s place, we're not looking for the greatest one yet. We're looking for the least. So if you wanted to, you could start your list over here and you could say, I know 40,231 is going to be my greatest number, okay? So we'll put that one and get it out of the way. So we're kind of done with this one. I'm going to pretend it's not there anymore. So we've got 39,239, 39,923, 32,462. So if I'm comparing my 10,000s, I've got 3s all the way down. I've got a 9, and a 2. So now we can decide what is the least of these 4 numbers. The least of these 4 numbers is 32,462. I'm going to put it over here. 32,462. My semicolon. So now I'm done with this one. So now I just have to compare these two. I'm going to 3, 9, same. 3, 9, same. 2, 9. Oh, here we are. Is 2 less than 9? Yes. So we're going to put 39,239 next, a semicolon, and I kind of left a perfect amount of space for myself. I've got 39,923. Okay, so this is the order they should be in from least to greatest. Check this against your answers. Pause the video again if you need to. Just look at these numbers. This is the order they should go in. Okay? Now that you've checked your answers and you've made sure you got it right, or if you got it wrong, you understand why you got it wrong, we're going to move on to talk about rounding numbers. So first and foremost, we got to talk about some vocabulary. I know, boring, but let's talk about what they mean. An estimate tells you about how much or about how many. If, for example, I'm grocery shopping, I usually say, oh, I can estimate this chicken costs $12.99. I'm going to estimate that it's about $13, okay? Or if I say there are about 500 kids in our school, that's not an exact number, but it's an estimate. But in order to get an estimate, you can round a number. So when you round a number, you are either moving it up or moving it down. And you're going to end up with a nice round, we call them round numbers because they're nice round numbers and they're easy to work with. So when you round, you replace that exact number with a number close to it, which gets you your about how many, okay? So let's look at some things together. Okay. When you round, you can underline the place value you are rounding to and circle the digit in the place value position directly to the right. So we're talking about this right here. We're going to round 5,725 to the nearest 1,000. In order to do that, I'm going to stick an underline right here underneath my 5. Okay, we are rounding to the nearest 1,000, and this is the thousands place. Ones, tens, hundreds. We've got our comma that tells us the 5 is in the thousands. After you do that, you can place a circle around the number right next to it. The number directly to the right, not to the left. Left is this way. We're looking at the number directly to the right, which is the 7. Okay? So the next smallest place value. Okay? If that digit is less than 5, my original number, my underlying number, is going to stay the same. If the digit to the right is 5 or greater, so for example, in this it's 7, 7 is 5 or greater, you're going to round this number, you're going to take this number and bump it up 1 to the next digit. Okay, so let's take a second, think for a second. If is 7 greater than 5? Yes. So this number is going to change. What is it going to change to? It is going to change to 6. 5 goes up, goes and changes into 6 because 7 tells it to go up. The rest of my digits become zeros. Okay? The rest of my digits become zeros. So let's do this. We're going to round to the nearest 100, okay? I'm going to come on this side of it, actually. We're going to round to the nearest 100. So the first thing we have to do is what? First thing we do is we underline the place value we're rounding to, ones, tens, hundreds. Look at that. You can kind of see it, but I already did it. Then we're going to place a circle around the digit directly to the right, so the next smallest. So the next smallest place value from hundreds is tens, okay? So let's think. I have a 3 and a 4. My 3 is either going to stay a 3 or change to a 4. It's never going to jump like 2 digits. It's never going to go from a 3 to a 5 or a 3 to a 1. It's never going to do that. It's either going to stay the same or become 1 more. Okay? This 4 is telling me, it says right here, if it is 5 or less, it stays the same. My 3 is going to stay the same. In this example, my 7, my 2, and my 5 became zeros. So take a second and think about what is going to happen to my 4 and my 9. Think about it, think about it, think about it. If these digits all turn to 0, this 4 and this 9 are also going to turn to 0. But think about it. If I had $12,349 and you told me that to round it, it would to the nearest 100 would be $300, does that make sense? I'm going to say to you, what happened to my $12,000? So when we round, that first number stays there. Anything to the left stays the same. Anything to the right becomes zeros. Okay? I'm going to erase this because it's going to actually show up there for me. 12,300. Okay? Before you go on, I want you to, on a whiteboard or a piece of paper, I want you to round this number. You're going to round it to the underlying digit. In this case, my underlying digit is 1. So now, take a second and think. Pause the video and round this to the nearest 1,000. This is the thousands place. Round this to the nearest 1,000. So I've got my underline already, so I'm going to take my marker, I'm going to circle this. This is the one we're looking at to tell us what happens to the 1. Pause your video, solve this equation, or solve this problem. I'm assuming that you are done, that you pause the video and you put this down on a piece of paper or in whiteboard or something. So my 1, what's going to happen to it? 2 is less than 5. So my 1 is going to stay the same. My 3 and my 4 are staying the same. Like I said, anything to the left stays the same. Anything to the right becomes what? Zeros. So in order for this to make sense, for it to be rounded to the nearest 1,000, it should be 341,000. Okay. Excellent. We're going to move on. Oh, look at this. Little Miss W is here to help you. Important. The digits to the left of the place value, which I just said, stay the same. Okay. So now we're going to look at a longer problem. Let me get my arrows out of here. Okay. During May 2008, the Mount Rushmore National Monument in South Dakota welcomed 138,202 visitors. A website reported that about 100,000 people visited the park during that month. Was the estimate reasonable? So we talked about writing our number, underlining to the place we are rounding, about 100,000. So they're looking at the 100,000s and circling next to it. That's one way to do it. I'm about to sneeze, I think. Nope, we're good. Okay. Another way to do it is to use a number line. And this is the same thing that I told some of my friends in class. Unless it tells you flat out, you have to use a number line. Do it whichever way works best for you. If it's easier for you to do it this way, do it that way. But if it says, where is it located on the number line? And use the number line, you've got to use the number line. So to round a number to the nearest 100,000, find the 100,000s it is between. That makes sense. You have to think to yourself, is it between, it's between what? Is it between 0 and 200,000 or 100,000 and 200,000? It is between 100,000 and 200,000. It's right in between them. Now, stop and think for a second. What number is directly in between 100,000 and 200,000? And I'll give you a hint. They put it on here for you. So in between 100,000 and 200,000 is 150,000. This is the halfway mark. This would be like saying the 5. If it's 5 or greater, you round up. If it's 5 or below, or it's 4 or below, you round down. Here is where 138,202 is located. On this number line, what is it closer to? Is it closer to 100,000 or 200,000? It is closer to 100,000 than 200,000 because here is our halfway point. And it is on this side of the halfway point. So it is on the side that is closer to 100,000. So using number lines when they're given to you is kind of nice. It makes it really easy because you can see it, okay? So let's think about that information. We talked about what number is halfway between 100,000 and 200,000. It is 150,000. And we also talked about why knowing that helps. It helps because if you're looking at the halfway mark, this is directly in between the two. If it's on this side of the halfway mark, it's telling you it's closer to this. If it was on this side of the halfway mark, it would be closer to 200,000, okay? So now, I want you to pause your video. I want you to pause your video, and I want you to do these problems. You're rounding to the place value of the underlined digit. Write the number on your whiteboard or a piece of paper, underline the same digit, and then circle the digit next to it. I want you to do it that way, okay? So before you pause, I'm gonna come through and I'm gonna circle the ones next to it, next to what we are rounding to. Now, pause your video and answer these 4 questions. I'm back because I'm assuming that you have paused your video and you answered these questions. It should have only taken you about 5 minutes or so. These are not super, super tough. So we are rounding, for this first one, we are rounding to the thousands place. We have 64,999. Is 9 5 or greater or less than 5? You should know 9 is greater than 5. So we've got the 6 stays the same because it is to the left of the number we're rounding to. The 4, because this is greater than 5, is going to become 5. We've got our comma. Everything to the right becomes a 0. Okay? That should make sense so far. So good. Here we go. We got another one. We got 850,000. 8 is what we are rounding to. 5 is going to tell us if we round up or down. 5 is 5 or greater. So we're going to round up. So this 8 is going to transmogrify into a 9. And then everything to the right is going to become a 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should have 5 zeros. When you round a number, it should always have the same number of digits that you started with. A lot of them might be zeros, but you're still going to have the same number of digits. That's why if on this first one, I had just 5,000 down, I know it's not right because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to remember to add that 6. It would help if I use the marker correctly. Okay, let's look at this next one. 301,587. I'm looking at my 1. The 5 is going to tell me, am I going to go up or stay the same? It's telling me I'm going to go up. These were all ups for some reason. So my 3 and my 0 stay the same because they are to the left. My 1 is going to become a 2, the next digit up, and everything to the right is going to become a 0. Let's see if this one also goes up. Oh, this one's also going to probably go up. How do I know that? I know that because I'm looking at this 8 and I'm saying to myself, 8 is way bigger than 5. So I've got my 1 is going to stay the same. My 0 is going to transmogrify into another 1. My 8 is going to become a 0. My 3 is a 0, and my 2 is a 0. 11,000. Okay. Hopefully this makes sense to you. Okay. I think the next thing is that, but so it's going to look crazy behind me. There I am. There's 2 of me. There's a whole bunch of me. Interesting. Your assignment is actually something called GoFormative. So what you need to do is, you guys are already logged in through Google Classroom. So when you go into GoFormative, it's going to say log in with Google. Just hit log in with Google and it's going to get you right in there. It's going to be just a bunch of these examples over again. Do your best and you just type the answer in on the side, okay? If you have any questions, you can always ask me through Google Classroom or have mom or dad shoot me an email. But I think you guys are going to do awesome with this because you did really great with all the other stuff. So good luck and I'll see you later. Bye.